Banana Slam Jam.
So hello everybody, this is another BSJ replay analysis. This is a 3K mid Zeus that is looking to climb to 5K. That is his parameter for donating this replay, and he would like to note that he says, feel free to go hard on me, I am looking to improve. So if I see the opportunity, I will grill the ever-living shit out of this person. First off, obviously you didn't get tangos from your supports. That's unfortunate, but even if you had gotten a tango, you have no branches. It's very important to have branches in your starting items. The time it takes to walk away and tango a tree can often make you even miss one last hit, miss a deny, whatever, and it's not worth even having the tangos if you don't have the ability to eat a tree. So very basic, but keep that in mind as something when you're going mid. I gave the same tip to Kali. I talked about it in my first session with her. If you want to check out specifics on that, you know, it's in the series for Kali on YouTube. If you can't land your block 95% of games, you need to go into a private lobby with cheats on, and so that you can start the game and everything. I showed how to do it in Kali's stream, in Kali's session. Check it out there. You just can't afford to be a mid laner and not block 95% plus at the time. Nothing more than that. A lot of mid lanes at the highest level are actually decided or like heavily influenced by who wins the block. So far, he just let you deny his range, which is really nice. He didn't punish you for not getting your block, but you could also learn to punish people who lose the block, rather than hoping they don't punish you. Nice CSing under tower. I don't see why you're buying another set of tangos. That doesn't really make sense.
First blood, the void cascade commences.
I think you could have just gone bottle at this point. I would say on Zeus, if it's 2 minutes into the game, you could realistically have a bottle, and you have absolutely full mana. You're just playing the lane wrong. It's impossible to like go into any more depth than this. It's similar in my replay analysis and coaching sessions when I talk about how like you just need to be more aggressive. I can't coach you any further than that. You just need to use your ability. I can't actually coach you any further than that. You can use it to harass. You can use it to secure CS. You can use it to like secure CS and deny at the same time. But like sitting at full mana on a hero that purely relies on their spells to lane is just, it's just terrible. Like there's nothing else to say about it. So you need to start like paying attention to when people use spells. I gave you all the reasons that you could potentially use a spell. You need to start casting your spell, and then you can be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have used it there. That was a waste. Or maybe I could have, you know, used it differently there. Maybe I should have bolted him instead of the creep. It's like you can think about a bunch of different things, but if you're not casting your spells, I have no way I can further coach you. This is unacceptable in terms of half health, full mana on a hero like Zeus. That helps you line up your item timings and shit. You are starting to bolt now that I just said that. Let's rewind for a second. I'd say this is just an overextension against Storm. There's not much else to say about this.
Go easy, worms. I'm your god too.
I think you're fully aware that you were busy like microing the courier and stuff and just like fucked up your hero there and you should have died. There's no like really conceptual thing about that. Okay. Based on the fact that you said that this is 3K MMR, I'm going to assume it's in A, based on what I've watched so far.
Denied.
My best explanation for your ability usage, you may say like, BSJ, now I have low mana and all this stuff. My best explanation is most lanes, especially in the mid lane, are decided by level 2, maybe level 3. Like the winner of the lane is going to be decided at this point. And so if you haven't cast a spell before level 3, that's like, in my bracket, you would have already lost. And at this point, you can say, like, I'm spending all my mana, and it's like, you would have already lost the lane. So now you're spending mana in a lost lane. And what that usually means is your trades are inefficient. So, like, the opponent's spending less mana or less health to trade with you. And then if it happens enough, then the guy wins the lane. Like, he's going to kill you. So, really think about, like, lining up your bottle timings, spending more mana early. If you have to fly out more mangoes, so be it. I think because of the way you were able to conserve your health pretty decently, you probably should have just gone bottle first. I know the bottle's a bit weird because there's no more 2-minute runes, but at the end of the day, it's up to you on how you want to solve the problem. It's just, if the problem is you're not casting your spells, that's not something we're going to say, like, I would have mana problems if I cast my spells. The correct answer is, how do I manage to cast my spells without having mana problems? Yeah, there's no more to it than that. The solution is not to not cast spells. I would highly recommend a stick against Storm Spirit. He's going to go on you a lot of the time, especially when he's level 6, so giving yourself that extra boost of HP and mana is nice to defend yourself. You didn't check his bottle, very classic mistake. If you checked his bottle, you would have seen a regen rune, so when you both backed off, you'd be fully aware that he was going to come back and try to kill you. So, talk about that a lot in my sessions too. Checking items, very important. Got to give yourself the necessary information. When he hits level 6, you should always be concerned about whether or not he's going to try to kill you. That's just a matchup knowledge. Storm Spirit against Zeus. Hero kind of counters yours, in the sense that he just kills you. Okay. This is definitely a nice back and forth throw of a lane. The Storm Spirit's been willingly donating you kills so that you don't completely feed this game, which is nice. What are you doing with your courier?
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
What's going on here?
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
All I know is you should never have to look at your base to use your courier. You should definitely just have better courier control. It got you killed already to have bad courier control. There, it was just like really inefficient. I'm like watching you try to CS and you're missing CS because you're busy with your courier. So you need to just set up hotkeys where you select your courier with a hotkey, it delivers it to you with a hotkey, and you just need to do that 100 times, 200 times, 1,000 times. Like, obviously, the first 100 times I want you to really focus on it, and then past that, you'll kind of do it subconsciously. But having that bad of courier micro, imagine being told, BSJ, I lost my mid lane because I couldn't use a courier properly. That's pretty demoralizing to think how much goes into a Dota game, and you're throwing based on an incredibly simple mechanic that could be very hashed out and just fixed. So this is a bit awkward of a rotation, and why I say that is none of your heroes in this lane push a tower, so if you kill this guy, then what? I want you to think about that a lot when you're going for kills as a mid laner, because every time you're going for a kill, you just missed 4 creeps underneath your own tower. You're delaying your item progression, you're delaying your level progression, so it oftentimes has to be very much worth it to get the kill. Not only that, but who sets up this kill? How does this kill happen? Like, what is going to make this happen? Are you going to bolt mini-stun the guy into an Ether Remnant? That doesn't sound like a reliable way to stun the guy. Like, your Void Spirit, if he was 6, on the other hand, that would be a way that you reliably set up a kill. So, yes, you're in 3K, and I usually mainly emphasize mechanics at this bracket. I would say that just going for a kill with no thought about how it's going to happen. Like, if you ask yourself right now, like, really, though, how are you killing this guy unless he just fucks up? And if the answer is he fucks up, then that's something that you're going to be stuck at 3K forever, because the higher you go, the less likely they are to fuck up. And so if you're making decisions banking on the opponent to mess up, it's just going to stop working eventually.
Dire's structures are
So yeah, you're just getting to sit here all nice and dandy. I don't mind you TPing to this fight as like a counter ganker. That's a bit different. So you could have just farming mid that whole time and then done that, and you would have had rune control. And the Storm Spear wants to feed another kill. Very nice of him. You don't have a bottle, which is crazy. Can't fathom why you wouldn't want a bottle.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
You're like you're ferrying yourself at least 600 gold worth of mana regen. And just not buying a bottle. Early on, it's a bit different because, like, if you're ferrying yourself constant regen, that means your strength in lane's consistent and everything. But at this point, you've just ferried yourself a bunch of random regen around the map without buying a bottle. Dota's all about min-maxing, pushing efficiencies, making the right play as much as possible. And when it comes to your items, it makes very little to no sense. You just stole Tome when you're already in level 9 hero. Like, why the fuck are you taking Tome on a level 9 Zeus? So you're effectively like griefing your support player, who's level 4 or 5 probably. Yeah.
Dire's courier has been killed.
So if you're going for either lens, why do you not have mana boots? I guess I'll be blunt and say, like, the fact that you've made it to 3K with this level of, like, itemization, courier usage, terrible rotations, like, it's actually impressive. I'm shocked. I feel like something's going incredibly right for you. Maybe like that one guy talked about, that one time in the coaching session that, what was it? What was his saying? I'm trying to remember what it was. It was, some people have to make the right plays in Dota, and some people have the right plays made for them, or something like that. Either way, he basically said there was like this, you know, overarching being that looked over the game of Dota and gave other people good fortune about certain things. And I would say you making it to 3K has something to do with that omnipresence in the game of Dota.
3 nulls and then just save items.
Yeah, so a good point from Kali is you're going for this like mid-game itemization with 3 null talismans, and then you're saving gold for not buying mana boots. So like you're going for mid-game aggression with your early items, and then you're not spending money on the mid-game items to continue the aggression. Now you just have no mana, shocker. Okay, so you went back for Boots of Travel.
Dire's bottom tower.
I'll let you know, Boots of Travel, pretty dog shit item on heroes like Zeus now. When I say heroes like Zeus, it's heroes that were using it as a regen rune. Heroes that used Boots of Travel that way, it's just bad now. You can eventually go Boots of Travel if you want, because you want to play away from your team and then TP to fights. But you can't use it as a regen rune anymore. So you have to use it where you get mana items first, and then buy the Boots of Travel, such that you can do what you want on the map while also having the mana to farm.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So the fact that you don't have a bottle, you don't have mana boots, yeah, you're still fighting, you don't have a stick against Bristleback, like in these fights. Like, notice the trend of all the items you could have bought that make it so you don't have to keep running back to base.
Dire's middle tower.
Why did you buy efficiency items if you're spending half the game in base? Not casting spells because you don't have the mana. Now you replaced your raindrops, which were your only source of mana regen, with a point booster. Or energy booster, I guess. I would have definitely bought the Voidstone first for mana regen. Now you get to go back to base again. Would you really consider this more efficient than bottle mana boots and a couple clarities?
Are scanning.
Does this really look more efficient to you?
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's
So, like, I think you're doing a pretty good job of showing up to all these fights. I think your hero is very powerful at this stage in the game, and it's great that you're showing up to fights. But, like, your kills are effectively netting like nothing. I think if you last picked Zeus here, it was a really bad pick, because your team has absolutely no tower push. So when it comes to, like, picking your hero in the draft, and you look at your teammates' heroes, you want to be like, okay, do we have catch? Do we have initiation? Do we have split push? Do we have objective taking? All these types of things to include in a draft. And then, if you're going to pick a hero like Zeus, Zeus is pretty much only damage. That's all he does. He's a backline damage dealer, so you need, like, a bunch of frontliners and a bunch of tower takers. Otherwise, Zeus just... you get a bunch of these kills, and then you can't end the game. Like, if you were to ask me at the 30-minute mark plus how your team is supposed to go high ground and end this game, I would say... something like that. Because I don't know how you guys ever end this game.
Stupendous.
Other than killing them literally 100 times. And I'm not exaggerating, 100.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So I think your overall itemization is reasonable. But I also think your order of itemization is terrible. Going Boots of Travel, then the Aether Lens, then the Blink. Like, why not Mana Boots, then the Aether Lens, then the Blink, then the Boots of Travel? Because now you have all the tools you need to fight, and then you can split push as well with the Blink Dagger, and then you can show up to fights with your Boots of Travel. Why is there, like, a third null instead of a wand, right? Like, there's just a bunch of things that add up to having no mana in the mid-game. The key to Dota, in my opinion, especially winning at lower MMRs, it matters at high MMRs too, but even more so at low MMRs, is just getting as much as you can on the map while you kill somebody. And your lineup will just never gain anything from killing anybody. Like, you're godlike, great. Now what? TP base and mana regen?
Bountiful.
Kyle actually says it pretty well in his panels. One of the few things he's right about is you ask yourself, how many fights do we need to win to end the game? And that number should always attempt to be remotely low, like somewhere between 5 to 10 at the minimum, at like the maximum. You know, that's what you're looking at. I would say your lineup's sitting in like the 20s with your ability to end this game. Your rotations around the map are honestly pretty decent. Your spellcasting and team fights, not bad. I assume that's why you made it to 3K, to be honest with you.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
That's kind of how I think about, like, how to come back. How many times do we have to come back?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It goes both ways. Like, sometimes it's like how many times do we have to win a team fight to actually go on the opponent's side of the map. Like, that can be an example of something. So, like I said, I think your itemization's actually fine at this stage in the game. The Bloodstone's a bit greedy, but gives you some mana regen to work with. I think UT being bottom was really bad, because the whole point of the Boots of Travel is that you can show up to fights at any time. So if you want to blink your way to bottom, and then have your Boots of Travel, that's great. I always emphasize never TP to your own safe lane, unless like the entire enemy team's dead and you're not taking an objective, or the entire enemy team showing top, which was not the case in this example. Notice what I'm talking about. I told you this, 15 minutes ago. Your team can't end the game. You guys have killed them a bajillion times. It just doesn't matter. You're up by 14k. You can't hit buildings. So pretty much whoever picked last on your team is at fault. I just assumed it was you because you're mid. Generally speaking, if my team lacks objective taking, I will always pick it, even if I'm like third pick. Because I just refuse to trust my teammates anymore to pick heroes. In my bracket, you still get dog shit picks. It never ends. So the goal is to not be a part of the dog shit picking. You can't control whether or not your teammates pick dog shit heroes, but like you can fix the problem yourself as best you can. Obviously, the later you pick in the draft, the more influence you have on that. I think objective taking and catch are like the two most important things to make sure you have in your lineup. Because you're the objective taking playmaker. At the end of the day, if your lineup's not perfect, you can make a lot happen by yourself. And I really will say, I think your spellcasting overall is fine. I think you've been very active in this game. You're part of 26 of the 31 kills. Only 2 deaths, which were very Pepega deaths in the laning stage. I think you showing on this creep wave's a bit... I guess Storm's dead. Never mind, you're good. You're gonna group up with your team again. Okay. I would strongly consider 1 defensive item. I think you're a bit crazy to not have a defensive item at this stage, but the Storm just refuses to ever go on you, so that's nice of him. I would assume that the Storm Spirit's going to go on me every fight, and itemize accordingly. Maybe a Yule's, even like a late BKB, like super late game. Glimmer Cape, you know, something like that. Tired enemy team's alive. Okay, okay. It was a bit scary to me that you were farming there in the first place.
Dire's bottom tower.
I would honestly consider a fucking meteor hammer this game. I would actually consider it, because you guys cannot hit fucking buildings for the life of you. That sounds crazy, I know, and I think I've never suggested meteor hammer Zeus in my entire life, but you might actually have to consider it here. And now you die once and you lose the game, most likely, because of all the reasons I've stated.
Radiant's middle tower.
If you have to kill them 25 times to win, and they kill you once and the game feels hard, your draft is probably pretty bad. Learning to think about the game in a way that you need to be able to end it, your lanes need to be decent, so it's like lane matchups, ending the game, stuns, you know, group up potential at some point, somebody has to buy auras, somebody has to buy initiation, you know, all this kind of stuff. In the draft, you can see most of the time. That's why I'm able to predict so wrong about what I watch in Pro Dota. I can at least, even if I'm wrong in terms of who's going to win the game, I'm almost always somewhat accurate on how the game's going to look. And looking at your game, I could have told you guys are going to kill them a lot probably and then lose the game because you can't end it. So I think I've said enough about this replay, and I hope you learned something of value.